welcome back to the channel. Claude and I like to welcome you back. I love it when he just literally looks at me. So today's video really is something I think we can all really relate to, and it's about living alone and loneliness. And although there are two different things, sometimes they can feel like the same, but actually I think they are two different things. And I think it's totally normal to feel really lonely at times. But what if we could kind of take that alone time and really turn it into something really empowering? That's a word, empowering. Something that really helps us feel calmer and more in control and even inspired. So I'll also give you a sneak peek into our next topic, which it's like, okay, it's about shoes, and we'll talk about that much later on in the next video. But I really wanted to talk about living alone and loneliness. And although these are two different experiences, they sometimes overlap. And here's a breakdown of the difference and the connection between the two. Living alone is my choice. I love living alone. I think it's more of a physical state of really being by oneself and without sharing a common space, a home with others. And I do share it with Claude here. But so many people who live alone, it's really by choice, or circumstance. And it really doesn't necessarily mean that they are lonely, because in no way am I lonely. But in fact, I enjoy living alone, and I enjoy the independence, and I enjoy the autonomy that really comes with living alone and what it provides me. Now, some people really thrive while they're living, while they're by themselves. One, I think that the way you thrive is your independence. When you live by yourself, it allows you time to full control over your schedule, your environment, your space, and that could take on so many different levels of that, right? But I find that empowering. How often do you get caught up in the whole busyness of life, and you're surrounded by so many different people that you really forget to check in with you forget to check in with yourself. So that alone time really gives me a chance to kind of do that, and really I don't see it as a state of loneliness. I use that to get myself in check, and it also gives me time to organize and indulge in my self-care, and not self-care like in face and nails or anything like that, but I mean self-care, like getting in touch with who I am. And it also allows me that personal growth time, right? It offers me that time to self-reflection, kind of pursuing personal interests and developing hobbies. Self-care is another way of saying I use that alone time to do something that one will benefit the world, because I'll come out a happier person. I use that to, I mean, some people use it to journal or to, take a bath, or just, what the pseudo self-care. But really it's just that time of silence, and just to be in your moment of you, and to remind you that you are your best company. I love me to no depth, right? And the more I make space for me, the more I realize that I have more to give to others. So that is that is where I find the joy of being alone, is that I find time to nurture my well-being. And that's my solitude, and I love it. And some people find peace in that solitude and prefer having that than they want to, share their space. And some people use it as a time to just recharge. One thing I love to do when I'm alone is really tackle some of the small things in my projects I have. Like, I've rearranged my office like I don't know how many times. I've rearranged my office a lot of times, and I'm just trying to find the optimum way in which I work that allows me to be 100% me, and allows my space to be clear and my mind to be clear. And so that's my space, and that's my alone time, where I'm just taking that space to be me. Or even if I can just, like, I make my bed every day. These are little things that my grandmother taught me. Like, you make your bed every day, so then it puts like a chapter and a beginning of your day. So my chapter starts when I make my bed. My chapter ends when I get in the bed. That's my sense of calm and accomplishment. That's the one thing I know that I've accomplished today. And plus, having a clean bed to get into, an unmessy bed, it gives me that I fold back the covers, and I know I'm getting into something, and I know my next day was going to be a fresh restart. Now, some of the challenges that come with, is that you lack that companionship. You lack that shared responsibility, and that feeling of sometimes isolation. But and the daily task, I usually do. I cook, I manage the household, I manage, feeding Claude. I manage all of that. And sometimes, bills, I have to pay bills, I have to keep the internet going, I have to keep the lights on. All that can feel just so overwhelming. But I'm never lonely, because loneliness is an emotional state, and it's feeling of isolation, of disconnection, and lack of meaningful interactions with people that you love, and just just social people, just people. And you can often feel lonely like that when you're surrounded by others, and which that affects so many people. I just really didn't understand that a lot of people are really lonely, and especially men. They don't have those meaningful connections. And that's one of the common causes of loneliness, is that you lack the meaningful connections. Or if you are connected, it's very superficial, it's very high level, and there's no emotional fulfillment in those connections. So that leads to loneliness, and even like social, and even in social settings, you're when you connect with people, there is no emotionalness about it. But some people are going through a lot. Some women my age, well beyond 35, 40, they're going through some divorces, some career shifts. I'm going through a career shift. Relationships are changing. Sometimes women who have children, or men who have children, their children are leaving the home. And those are a lot of emotional gaps, and where a lot of those social connections are walking out the door because your kids kept you social. And then there's the technology aspect. Dear Lord, the technology aspect is the social media. It's all those technological connections that you have that connects you to people, but it's really not connecting you to people. That can also contribute to your feelings of loneliness when you're interacting, and because there's the lack of depth, there's a lack of, like, you really know this person, or there's that lack of emotional intimacy that you'd need when that happens. When that happens for me, when those periods of times when I start to feel, oh my gosh, I need to see my mom, or I need to see my sister, or I need to get some, I reach out to them, my people. And I live alone and I feel completely content with that. And I have a really good social life in my choosing. And that is because I, surround myself with my relationships with my family and my friends. I enjoy those relationships. But it is possible to feel lonely even when you're with others. Like I said, if your relationship starts to lack that emotional depth or understanding, loneliness starts to creep in. It starts to make itself known because there's no emotional connectedness. There's a disconnect, and not just because you're living on your own, but you're physically isolated, but you're emotionally isolated as well. And so ways in which you can kind of fight loneliness, or ways in which you can kind of help yourself in dealing with the loneliness, is you gotta build some social connections. You gotta reach out to your friends. You gotta talk to them. You gotta say, hey, I'm feeling like I'm not loved. And believe me, if your friends are like my friends, they will be at your door in a moment. Do some activities, even if it means those activities might challenge you or stretch you. Engage in moments where there's personal growth, where you're doing things that are scary for you. Any kind of personal hobbies you have, or something that you always wanted to learn how to do, or a language you've wanted to learn how, or, oh gosh, I don't know, something where you feel like you can get some emotional you can get some emotional connection with, right? And then there's always therapy. Therapy has never done anyone not good, right? Therapy is a good solution. And you have to get to the level where you want to talk to someone, and just participating in social events or community work or clubs or anything that aligns with what you find interesting, kind of to allow those organic connections to happen with other people. And honestly, I use my time alone to just meditate, relax. Sometimes I don't get out of bed, and that's okay. I mean, I have to because I have a dog, but I walk around and I'm not trying to be perfect. I don't try to put the sets on. No, bitch, I walk out with whatever I have that's clean. But that's how I can deal with this. And that's how I can, deal with, the fact that I'm alone. And that's how I want to do my self-care day, is when I just chillax. So here's some things that I do that kind of, help me get through those situations. And I start really small, is like my office. I tidy that up every week or so. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes, and sometimes it takes a whole hour. I change some stuff. That makes me feel like I got a sense of control over some things because I'm organizing, right? And that can help me set the rest of my day, because I'll organize my office. The next thing you know, I'll organize my closet, and then I'll organize my bathroom. Then that kitchen is something I always organize because that's always getting used. Whether it's like getting rid of some old skincare products that have been open and I have not touched since I tried it, and it just hasn't worked for me. So I gotten rid of skincare. Choose like something that feels like you're doing something for yourself. Or listen to some good music. Like listen to some music that you haven't listened to in a long time, like something that gives you joy, you find joy in. Like some Stevie Wonder always puts a smile on my face. And you have to find those mindful moments that you enjoy, those peace and quiet, or even if it's just put some headsets on so the music is just for you. and listen to it and just take some deep breaths and ground yourself, and that's the way in which you'll reduce the sense of loneliness. You'll just, it'll feel good to you. So in summary, I just kind of want to wrap it up because we can just keep going on and on. But living alone it's just, you're living, right? But loneliness is that's emotionally, you're just, the two aren't connected, but they can influence each other. And it really depends on how you approach it and how you approach your aloneness and your social connections. And I think you have to come to some reckoning with that. So thank you so much. Put my Barbie voice on. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you found this conversation kind of insightful, helpful, and if you did, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more chats about, self-care, and well-being, and this is my series of doing better for yourself and be better. And I'd love to hear from you about, like, if you're struggling, like, how do you handle those moments of loneliness, and how do you deal with that? And how do you adjust it with living alone if you're coming out of a situation? And kind of share your thoughts about that. And I'd love to connect. But until next time, be kind to yourself and embrace who you are. And remember, your body is what, I don't want to sound like woo 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 woo, but your space is your sanctuary. So I want you to take care of it. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you about what we're going to talk about next time. Oh my gosh. So whether you're heading out for a busy day or running errands, I think I see this a lot on women who are of a certain age. The ugly shoes. Oh my gosh, I cannot. And I know we're all thinking about comfort and all those different things, but my God, can we just get some cute shoes out there for women who are over 40, over 35, 40. So in my next video, I'm going to be chatting about ways to elevate your shoe game. Because shoes that not only look fabulous, but they feel amazing. And especially for women, if you're after 40, but you really want to look fierce and you want your feet to reflect they're comfortable and they're stylish. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And so you ring that bell, so the notification bell, so you won't miss that conversation. And I'll show you the shoes that I have worn heels in, good God, I don't know when, but I do think my shoe game is heavily on point. I mean, they're good. They're good. So I'll see you next time. And like I said, love yourself, and we'll see you later. Right, Pumpkin? Claude, say bye-bye. Okay, he doesn't want to say bye-bye. Oh, my pumpkin, you are so